Before we start, I would like to greet you in our own language, Kannada. Our topic today is based on cultural influence on identity, and my ID student is S11245040. Identity is not fixed but constantly shaped by cultural, social, and historical forces. In today's world, people are influenced by both traditional heritage and the demands of modern society, often negotiating between the two. For Pacific Islanders, this process is especially significant as their identities are deeply tied to ancestral ancestral values, family family connection, and communal practices. This article, Two Tiny Identities of Pacific Islanders, shows how migration, colonization, and Western expectations have affected the Pacific peoples. Yet their culture remains central to who they are, even while individuals make personal choices in who they are, define and express themselves. Specific traditions and values often carry greater weight, grounding grounding identity in a sense of belonging and cultural continuity. Culture culture in shaping identity within the complexities of contemporary society. Thank you.
I would like to greet to you all in our own language, Kannada. My name is Serari Rangato. My student ID is 11245001. The core reading number 1. How do cultural factors shape on individual sense of identity in contemporary society? Cultural factors shape identity by offering values, beliefs, and practice that individuals internalize and use to define who they are. In a contemporary context, identity is often fluid, allowing people to navigate and negotiate multiple cultural influences throughout their lives. Thank you.
Cultural factors strongly influence how people, especially Islanders, understand their identity today because they provide a sense of belonging, stability, and connection to their roots. The article by Anali Lumisufeli 2021 explains that identity is not is built not just by an individual but also through relationship, community values, traditions, and languages. For instance, the specific concepts of time and relational space highlight that identity is carried in the bonds people create and maintain and maintain, even when they live far from their own land. At the same time, migration, intercultural relationship, and exposure to Western lifestyle reshape cultural identity, resulting in a hybrid form of identity that combine both Pacific that combine both modern influences and Pacific traditions. While this allows the Pacific Islanders to adapt and succeed in contemporary society. It can also create challenges to younger generation who feel distant from their cultural heritage. Some example of cultural factors Hawaiian have, have been widely portrayed with image of women in grass dancing in grass skirts dancing in firelight, men in a loincloth trailing fireballs or carrying food from umu, the in grand oven, and depiction of the luau are associated with and create the archetypes of indigenous people of Hawaii. The article also shows The article also shows that cultural identity often has a stronger influence on people's sense of self than individual choices alone. Many participants explain that without their cultural grounding, they risk losing direction or taking on negative stereotypes. By holding on to cultural values, family responsibilities, and community practices, they develop pride and confidence in who they are. Still, personal decisions also important as they determine how people balance cultural expectations with their home goals in modern life. Overall, Pacific Pacific culture acts as the foundation of identity, while individual choices shape how that identity grows and changes in contemporary context. These points can be used to wrap the second part of the question, where it asks to talk about how much cultural factors impact a person's identity. Therefore, it is encouraged the Pacific Islanders to take ownership of their own identity, challenges harmful colonial stereotypes, and view the blending of cultures as a source of strength rather than a limitation.
Hello again. My student ID number is S11244583. I will present my co-reading on number 3. Fakarani Afuka. So our question number 1. How do cultural factors shape an individual sense of identity in contemporary society? Cultural factors shape identity by offering spaces like the Tuangan Paiwaka, where heritage is actively enacted and passed on. In Feyoko study, the Paiwaka provide an environment for language, traditions, music, and social norms to flourish, fostering identity, security, and community among New Zealand born Tongan males. Our next question, number two, is to what extent do Pacific Island cultural influences impact personal identity, pages, individual choices? Ferros finding success that Pacific Island cultural influences, especially communal practice, deeply roots in tradition. Old creators survey over personal identity formation than to individual choices, while personal agency remain important. That immersive and communal nature of cultural traditions like the favor tends to have a more profound and lasting effect in maintaining identity within the diaspora text. Thank you. Sam Emmanuel Meranianai. Our question is how do cultural factors shape an identity sense of an individual sense of identity in contemporary society. Cultural factors shape an individual identity by influencing how they view themselves and others, what value they adopt, and how they understand the world around them. Ethnic identity, for instance, can affect how individuals interpret the action of others and the worldview they develop beyond the individual level. Cultural identity can also impact structural and societal experiences, just as patterns of socio-economic inequality and health disparities. Therefore, culture provides a framework through which people make sense of their personal and social experiences, guiding how they form their identity in a modern, multifaceted society. Then is to what extent do Pacific Island cultural influences have more significant impact on personal identity than individual choices in contemporary society. Pacific Island cultural influences often have a profound impact on personal identity, sometimes outweigh individual choices. In many Pacific Island communities, identity is strongly tied to a, a collective values such as family ties, community belongs, and respect for responsibility, which can shape how individuals see themselves more powerfully than personal preference or choices, which individuals to vary in how strongly they individual with their ethnic group. The cultural norms and expectations within Pacific Island societies tend to guide personal identity formation to a significant degree, reinforcing a collective sense of self over individualism.
My name is Sunita Meltado. My student ID is S11246243244633. I want to talk about language based on notes and ideas, known as core reading for. Noten says that learning language is not about word and grammar. It is also about who we are. When we speak, we show our background, our culture, and even our hopes. She used the word investment to explain how people learn if someone feels welcome and respect.
They will try harder to learn, but if they feel about if they feel left out, they may stop learning. She also talked about image communities. This means people learn a language because they want to be part of group like school, a job, or country. They imagine a future while being they belong. So learning a language is not just about speak, it's about feeling accept and having power and being part of something. Thank you. My name is Sunita Meltak. My student ID is S11246244633. I'm going to talk about the conclusion, Cult- which is culture plays as a foundation role in the shaping identity, influencing how individuals see themselves and how they are perceived by others. Through language, tradition, values, and social norms, culture provides a framework for understanding the world and our place within it. Core reading highlights that identify is not fixed but fluid, continuously shaped by cultural context, power structures, and lived experience. As a globalization and as cultural cross-cultural interaction increase, identities become complex, often blending multiple cultural influence. Ultimately, understanding cultural influence on identity encourage greater empathy, self-awareness, and appreciation of diversity in an interconnected world. Thank you very much.